وعلى آله الأطيبين الأطهرين المنتجبين الهداة المهديين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في الأراضين واللعنة الدائمة لأعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. عباد الله أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ونظم أمركم. I recommend all my brothers and sisters and myself to observe piety and taqwa. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to organize our lives inshallah based on taqwa and His recommendation, and reward us in this world and hereafter bi barakati salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this indeed great tawfiq. We're together. Congratulations on the month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, we are at the very first day of Jumma of month of Ramadan. First Jumma of month of Ramadan. Sometimes we have the opportunities in front of us, but we don't take advantage of those opportunities the way that we're supposed to take until we lose them. We don't have them anymore. If you look at your life, you have a lot of ni'mah, a lot of fursa, a lot of opportunities. Indeed, you have way more than what you need to have than those things that you don't have. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you try your best, whatever, try to find and count the ni'mat, the na'amat and favors of Allah upon you, you won't be able to find them and to count them. And this is the reality. But unfortunately, human mentality is that we sometimes, most of the times, focus on things that, the shortcomings, things that we don't have. We try to boast those things, right? And we try to mourn upon those things that we don't have, versus things that we have. Imagine if to make it clear for you, imagine if your child, you provide a lot of things for him or her, and there are only few things that they don't have, or you don't buy certain things for them that, they keep asking. Imagine if they're not appreciative and they come to you and keep complaining. What kind of dad are you? What kind of mom are you? How would you feel? So you're not saying what I provide for you? You're not saying that you have roof over your head? You're not saying that the love and affection and everything I have for you, right? So sometimes we become like this. We don't see the reality. We don't see the, and it is, imagine in this street, for example, 1,000 cars are passing per day, for instance, and there's only 2 accidents per day. What do you say? Oh, this road is very dangerous. How about the other cars that are passing without any issues? So then we need to practice to be appreciative. When it comes to this topic, it's not just a topic that I have to have it by myself. No. We see that Anbiya of Allah, Awliya of Allah, we see Ahlul Bayt, which had the most difficult tests in this dunya, they were the most appreciative ones, right? When it comes to Karbala, the biggest musibah happened, musibatan ma'adhamaha. But you see that Imam Hussein, he keeps appreciating Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what you're appreciating, for all the good things, for the hidayah that I have. That's why. So it is very important for us when we are having these opportunities in front of us, this fursah that we have in front of us right now, to understand the beauty of this. The first Jummah of Ramadan, I am alive, I'm sitting here, I need to be able to hear, I'm hearing. I needed to be here, I am here. I wanted to be able to look, I can look. There are many people you might know that are in a hospital. They wish they could come, they wish they could fast, they cannot, right? Which again, this is their responsibility, whatever they have. Therefore, appreciation is a very good thing, that if I don't practice that in my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I won't be able to practice that with other people as well. Never. Man lam yashkur al-makhluq, lam yashkur al-khaliq. If I'm not appreciative towards other people, it's a mutual relationship. If I'm not used to see the beauties in this world, I'm not used to appreciate. Doesn't matter Allah, doesn't matter other people, my wife, my husband, my parents, my children, my brothers and sisters, my friends, my communities, scholars, whatever it is, right? I'm not used to it. When this tongue is not used to practice certain things, it's not used to it at all. And I take it for granted. What do you mean? It's your job to clean the house and do this and that. I mean, your wife, I'm working outside. No, not necessarily. The tongue that is appreciative is a very interesting and the ni'mat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have. I don't know how many of you guys, when you leave the house every day, well, when this weather is beautiful, alhamdulillah, right? I was scared about Chicago when I came from California. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be so cold. But alhamdulillah, it's beautiful, isn't it? How many times I come out of the house, I look at the sky, it's just beautiful, alhamdulillah. It's amazing. I look around and I see the beauties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I try to find the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not just wait for them to come to me, right? When it comes to Ahlul Bayt, they find the beauties, they find the reason to appreciate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if I can practice that, and imagine if you have a friend, you have family members, you have children, that they come to you, they appreciate you a lot. I just wanted to say thank you so much. Every day comes to you, how would you feel about it? You just want to give more to this person, right? Because you know the value of that, versus the one who keeps complaining about what I don't have. So now that we have Ramadan, alhamdulillah, in front of us, and we are in Ramadan now, alhamdulillah, that one day of this month, khayrun min alf shahr. One day is better than the 1,000 months. Khayrun min alf shahr means 83 years. That means the entire life of someone. Now that I have it in front of me, first and foremost, how appreciative I am towards this opportunity, that I don't know if it's the last opportunity, inshallah not. And the second, what I need to do with it. One of the most important concepts and abilities that we see that in our traditions, ayat of Quran a lot, that are trying to say the mu'mineen should practice that, is the concept of tafakkur and thinking. We have many ayat of Quran that are saying, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, such as, Inna fi khalq as-samawati wal-ard, wa ikhtilaf al-layli wal-nahar, la ayatin li-ulil albab. You see, we created the earth and the sky and days and nights. It's for you to think about it. These are all the signs for ulul albab, those people who ponder a lot, contemplate a lot. Why is giving this simple examples? Look at the sky. Yes, literally the sky that I told you. Look at the earth. Days and nights. When was the last time we found ayah and the sign of Allah in days and nights? What was the last time we thought about it? When you go to North Pole, you might see it. Oh my God, so I miss it. Right? The traditions are saying that, sometimes there are few things that we don't know the benefits of that until we don't have it anymore. One of them is health. We all experience this, right? You're okay sitting down. As soon as your tooth started hurting, oh my God, I remember how good it was before. It was not hurting. Another time is your life, your youth. When you're younger, mashallah, everybody's young here. We consider below 100 is all young, inshallah, right? When you're younger, you don't see the opportunity. That's the moment to take advantage of it, and Bismillah is all, The benefit of security and amniyat around and be safe, you don't see it sometimes. These are the traditions that are telling us. So, and we take it for granted. Looking at the sky, look at the earth, just hadith is saying, manqul, tuba liman kana samtuhu fikra. Good for the person who their silence is tafakkur and thinking. When you look at awliya of Allah, when you look at those who are, achieve the highest levels of ubudiyyah, you see, they are thinking more than what they're saying. You go to the highest scholar and marja, anyone, he's not keep talking. He's more quiet until someone asks him a question or something, then he talks. Don't practice at home, by the way. Don't go to your wife and says, Maulana says I shouldn't talk that much, right? We see what we say overall, right? Kana samtuhu fikra. And that's one of the differences between us and the other creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That we have the ability of thinking, not talking. Some animals, they can talk as well, respectfully, right? Is that I sit down and think. And I think this month is the month of thinking. I am depriving myself for the sake of Allah not to eat, not to drink the entire day. For the sake of what? I have more time to think, not to replace it with other busyness. So alhamdulillah, I don't have to go for a lunch break. Let's have another business meeting. No, sweetheart, you missed the point. The point was that you don't replace it by other worldly situation. Was that you start thinking and using that time for the sake of ibadat of Allah. At-tafakkuru al-fikru ibadah. Thinking is about, because you know what, we think sometimes what Ahlul Bayt and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us is that just salat and fasting, all these physical aspects. And a lot of people do a lot, they don't get that much from it. Because you miss that soul of that, is to think. When it comes to Quran recitation, it doesn't matter how many times you finish the Quran recitation for the entire Ramadan. It matters how many times you recited an ayah and you acted upon that ayah. Right? Ayat of Quran said the same thing. Think about it. So I keep reciting 10 times in Ramadan, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wal kadhimin al-ghayz wal afina an nas. Those people who control their wrath and they forgive other people, and I don't act upon it. How about that? I mean, I can read the book of James Johnson and then I don't get anything from it as well. Yes, in recitation there's nur. The ayat are nur. Hearing the ayat is nur, right? But we're talking about maximizing the benefit. You see what I mean? Maximizing the benefit we can get from it. That's what we want. We don't want to be just a students in the maktab of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't just to be there to do, no, we want to be the best students. That's what Ahlul Bayt, they want us, right? Kunu zaynan lana. Be the zinah, be an adornment for us. Imagine if you have an opportunity to live at the time of, Amir al-Mu'mineen. Would you like to be Malik Ashtar, Salman Farsi, or would you like to be someone who, he was living at the time of Rasulullah? Which one? And in order to become Malik, then when he passed, when he became Shaheed, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, I left my right hand. Malik to me was like me to Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar. Look, he did it. He acted upon it. He put it in perspective and action, right? If I have this time to think, if I have this time to understand and to spend that time, كان أكثر إبادة أبي ذر خصلتين التفكر والاعتبار. The majority of the ibadat of Abi Dharr Ghifari, that great Sahabi of Rasulullah, was what? Two things. Thinking a lot and taking lessons, i'tibar, from it. Not just thinking about everything. Thinking about my religion. And this Ramadan is that month. We said I have ta'ghibat of salat, for example. What is that ta'ghibat? Just recite some Arabic parts and tamasida. Quran recitation, Bismillah. Ta'ghibat is the time. Why did it say it's mustahab to be before azan, sit down for the azan and listen to azan? Why? Because azan is the whole complete aqidah and beliefs. That every day, right? 5 times or 10 times you repeat. You keep thinking about it. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. There's tawheed, the concept of tawheed. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And each of them you do what? 2 times. To put it there, like, hey, you understand or not? 2 times. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ عَلِيًّا وَلِيُّ اللَّهِ اللهم صل على محمد. Let me sit down and think about my relationship with my family. How am I with my wife, with my husband? Sometimes we want to choose part of deen selectively and only act upon that one. Not the other one, not the entirety of what Ahlul Bayt they brought for us, right? How is it? So it's always I'm right. Maybe see the other's perspective. Maybe I have to pause and see, maybe I am wrong. This is the sunnah of Ahlul Bayt. You heard about this story when Shimr al-Mal'un, he brought the Aman Nama, the safety to Abu al-Fadl Abbas, and he rejected him. What did he say? What did I do that he had this much courage to come and give me this suggestions? He's trying to blame. Imagine in any family matters, I put myself in the other one's shoes. It's very difficult for her to deal with children every day. It's very difficult for him to go out and come back in this tafakkur. Someone came to Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he asked, it's a Mangul narrated tradition. He asked Rasulullah, give me any advice, anything, It's very interesting. Rasul says, فَهَلْ أَنْتَ مُسْتَوْسٍ إِنْ أَنَا أَوْصَيْتُكَ حَتَّى قَالَ ذَلِكَ ثَلَاثًا. If I give you this nasiha, this advice, would you act upon it? 3 times Rasulullah repeated. Other times it doesn't, right? 3 times Rasulullah. And في كلها يقول الرجل نعم يا رسول الله. Every 3 times he says, Ya Rasulullah, I would do it. Then he says, منقول فإني أوصيتك إذا أنت هممت بأمر فتدبر عاقبته. Anything you want to do, think about the end of that, the aqibat of that. Anything. Analyze it for yourself. Don't just jump into it. فإن يكن رشدا فامضه وإن يكن غيا فانتهي. If you see that there is a benefit, if you see there is a growth in it, improvement in it, you as a human being, then do it. If you don't see that growth in it, don't do it. Don't act upon it. Leave it. But this whole point of me thinking, taking the time to understand and to see the responsibilities. I think we should get used to this. Spend more time and combine our ibadah with tafakkur and thinking, contemplation. From now on, if I could recite, 20 pages of Quran, right? Verses I recite less than that with translation, with contemplation, with thinking, pause. Which part of this ayah I have issue with here? Quran is a mirror, right? Rabi'ul Quran, Ramadan, Rabi'ul Quran, right? It's the Bahar of Quran, the spring of Quran. For what? For action, for amal. I pause and start thinking about it. Am I controlling my wrath? The Quran says you need to. Am I forgiving other people that I'm asking Allah to forgive me in this month? Am I doing it or not? If yes, alhamdulillah, how can I do to make it better? If not, then what is preventing me from doing it? What's wrong? Something is going on. If I'm coughing, there's some problems I have to figure out, right? If you sneeze 3-4 times, God forbid, and then the normal, what would you do? You check yourself with a doctor. When it says Quran is shafa' means what? That I look at Quran, look at ayat of Quran and try to see what I need to get from it. Therefore, inshallah, if we try to see how and what we need to do to make our ibadah, to maximize the benefit of our ibadah, we need to add this with tafakkur. Indeed, 124,000 prophets came for this reason, to make people think. Otherwise, they didn't come to say worship. They were worshiping, right? They came to say, don't worship this. Idols and wood and irons, it's not good. They were worshiping something, right? They didn't come to say, you need to worship. No, they came to say, think about it. This is not worthy of ibadah. The worthy of ibadah is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They came for this. They just awakened people. Those people who found hidayah are those people who they had the moment to think and change their life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, help us in this regard. Guide us inshaAllah and give us the tawfiq of tafakkur and thinking. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammadin wa ajjal farajhum. Allahumma ajjal waliyaka al-faraj al-afiyata wal-nas wa mudda fi umrihi al-sharif wa zayyana al-ardha bitula baqa'ih wa ja'alna min a'wanihi wa ansarihi wa shi'atih. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, thabbit qulubana ala dinik. We ask you, Ya Allah, for the sake of this month, hasten the dhuhur of our Imam Mahdi. Let us and our generation be among the best of his followers. Do not let anyone from our generation ila yawm al-qiyamah to be among the enemies of this path. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, those who have hajat and requests, my respected brothers and sisters, mu'mineen, give them all khair hajat. Those who are under difficulties around the world, in Gaza specifically, provide the opportunities for their freedom, for their success. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, those who are not feeling well, cure them, and those who passed away, send the thawab and reward from our gatherings to their souls. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu as-samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billah min ash-shaytan al-la'in ar-rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وصلى على علي أمير المؤمنين والصديقة الطاهرة سيدة نساء العالمين والحسن والحسين سبتي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف القائم الهجة واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. عباد الله أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ونظم أمركم. I recommend all my brothers and sisters and myself to observe piety and taqwa. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us and organize our lives inshallah based on piety and taqwa, and reward us for dunya wal akhirah. ببركة الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this great opportunity that once again we're together in month of Ramadan, alhamdulillah, this time, and in the first Jum'ah, Sayyidul Ayyam, the best of all days in a week, in the best of all month, Ramadan. May Allah inshallah give us the tawfiq to take advantage of these moments of this month, that the hours of this month are the best hours, the nights are the best nights, inshallah. There are some interesting phrases in the traditions of Ahlul Bayt that how and what they describe, how they describe a successful person. There's a terminology they use, it says Tuba liman, good for a person. It's a series of traditions, good for who? If I want to say good for who in this dunya, I might look at the physical benefit and amenities that people might have in their life. One of the interesting aspects, what we know, whatever comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Quran, Ahlul Bayt, which is the same source, it's all about providing the best dunya for human beings, for us. And then as a result of acting upon our responsibilities and duties, a better akhirah. So akhirah indeed is the dunya that you create for yourself. Akhirah is how you provide. Ad-dunya mazra'atul akhirah. Whatever you put the seed under the ground, you'll see the result of that. If you put the seed of the orange, you won't get peach. If you put apple, you won't get eggplant. Whatever you put there, you get it. So it depends on how and what you act upon in this dunya. Tuba liman qani'a bil kafaf. It's manqul, and narrator says, good for the person who is a content person. Has contentment. Qina'ah. Let's get used to this term. Qina'ah and contentment. Good for this person. And when Ahlul Bayt says good for that person, it's different than I say good for someone, right? MashaAllah, you see what car he's driving, what house they have. Their house is in this zip code, which is this zip code is $200,000 is more expensive than the other side of the zip code, right? But if it's good for this person from these aspects, how about the other aspects? I don't know. How's he at home? How is he personally? How is the iman of that person? I don't know. We just see one aspect. Well, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when Ahlul Bayt says, they see in reality good for this person, qani'a bil kafaf. Kafaf and ghina'a, contentment. That we want to talk a little bit about it quickly. That I am satisfied with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided for me. I am working for better, as He said. But I'm not so worried about my status because alhamdulillah for what I have. Our traditions are telling us ad-dunya daru mamar wala daru maqar. Dunya is dar, a place that you come and you go. Mamar is, imagine, is a highway. Would you even think about building a palace or a house in the middle of the highway? No. How many of you guys, you traveled and you have a layover? Would you imagine it? No, I'm going to stay here. It's just a short period of time you have until you get to the next level of your life. Ad-dunya daru mamar. You're here for the sake of, this time, and you have to leave. A lot of psychological disturbances, anxieties, stressors, problems, anything that you can imagine, the dunyavi perspective is for the sake of, I don't have enough. A lot of worldly issue, the war happened here and there, problem, situation happens because I'm not content for what I have. I want to get the other side of the world as well, right? That's not enough. Any time in the history that this king attacked the other territory and king for what? I'm not satisfied for what I have. Anyone who stole something, who hurt someone else because of what? I'm not satisfied. Any jealousy that happens, I'm not happy. I don't have a self-esteem and confidence to say, Alhamdulillah, what I have, I have. I need it and I have it, everything. This contentment is not just the financial aspects, right? It has everything. What are the benefits of this? Imagine if we bring this contentment. And Ramadan, we are practicing this contentment, Alhamdulillah, throughout the day. And inshallah, night as well. Ahadith are saying that al-qina'atu izzun. Qina' and contentment is a prestige, is a respect. Don't you want to have that prestige and honor? Someone who is not just keep looking other people to help. What the other one, they are here in the United States only 15 years. We're here for 30 years, What they have is more than us. How is it possible? Instead of I look at your plate, what you have, I look at my own plate. And I thank Allah for what I have. I work for best. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. I want hasana in this dunya too. But I don't want to be attached to this dunya. Here's a very narrow border here, right? I need to be wealthy in this dunya. I have to. The dua today in the Fajr prayer we recited with the brothers and we translated it. I need to have wealth. Ahlul Bayt, they had wealth. Whoever needed anything in this dunya, they were coming to who? Go to this imam, go to that imam. They had the wealth. Amir al-Mu'mineen, how many gardens he established? You know that. It's all wealth, it's his business. But the only difference was that he was not attached to it. Right? Giving it was so easy. And qina'ah. Amir al-Mu'mineen, the same person, the entire world is at night he's eating what? A dry bread. A tradition saying that Mangula, he told even his children, don't try to be like me. You cannot. One of the aspects is it brings qina'ah. Qina'ah brings the respect to human beings. There is a tradition, Mangul, that very interesting. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, the best thing that someone can have is it's a conversation with Prophet Khizr that he had. But he says, one of the best things, تِيحُ الْفُقَرَاءَ عَلَى الْأَغْنِيَاءِ ثِقَةً بِاللَّهِ. That when it comes to those who don't have enough, I might be struggling, financially or whatever it is, situation, but they should have self-esteem in front of other people who have a lot. Don't disrespect yourself because, from the worldly perspective, you're not equal to. And put yourself, test your nafs. How am I? If I come to a majlis, right? If I want to sit next to someone, who would I pick? The one who the bank account is fat and higher and bigger? Or the brother that he is okay? Which one I sit down with? Hadith an-nafs. The second thing, that contentment will kill the greediness in this dunya. Again, the problem of the world is the greediness. I want more, I want more, I want this, I want that. Very interesting story. Harun al-Rashid, he asked his soldiers, go find, if you can find anyone who was alive at the time of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and bring him to me if he heard a hadith from Rasulullah. It's 100-something years. They went, looked for around whoever was alive. They found a person, very old person, in a basket. He couldn't even walk. He says, were you alive at the time of Rasulullah? Yes. Did you hear any hadith? Yes. They brought it to Harun. He stood up. They put it there. And then Harun says, did you hear anything from Rasulullah? He says, yes. I was very little. I remember my father took me to Masjid al-Nabi, and I heard one hadith from Rasulullah. He said, what was the hadith? He said, Rasulullah says, يَشِيبُ ابْنَ آدَمْ وَتَشُبُّ مَاهُ خَصْلَتَانِ الْحِرْص وَطُولُ الْعَمَلِ. While the human beings are getting older, they get older, two characteristics will become younger in them. Al-hirs, the greediness, وَطُولُ الْعَمَلِ, daydreaming. Harun says, okay, all right, thank you so much. Give him some money. give him a bag of the money. He left. The soldiers were carrying him, right? He couldn't even walk. He said, put me down. What happened? Take me back to Khalifa. Why? I have a question. They took him back. He looked at Harun and says, I have a question. He says, what question? He says, the money that you gave me, is it for every single month you're going to give me the same amount? Or it's just the one time? Harun says, man, I don't even expect you to go and be alive. Sadaqa Rasulullah. He tell the truth, right? And they took him. Before he reached the house, he passed away. Of course, this is for those who don't have iman, those who don't mix their life with iman. Otherwise, when iman comes, qani'a bil kafaf. It control, it balance the what? The life. Maybe the last benefit of that, if I say, man qani'a lam yaqtam. We work in this dunya, try not to be sad, not to have issues in daily life. We try to have peace in life, right? Traditions is saying that it takes away the huzn and qam, sorrow from people. Instead of always thinking about what other people have and I don't have, it makes you feel, alhamdulillah, whatever I needed today, I have. But the difference is this. In the path of Allah, I try my best. Even for the worldly perspective, which is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I do. Man ghani'a hasuna ibadatu. The one who is content, understand that every single one of us, we have a specific portion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides for us. What do we do in night of Qadr? Qadr, one translation, is the measurement. The measure of the rizq of everything is determined in night of Qadr. The one who has qina'ah, hasuna ibadatu. The ibadat of this person, the worship of this person will become a better quality. Instead of raising my hand in qunut or ibadah, I think about what I don't have. I think about what other people have I don't have. It helps me to focus more on what I have and how can I take advantage of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided for us. We need to raise our children with this quality, qina'ah. If we provide a lot, they won't appreciate. They won't learn to appreciate, right? But if they learn that this is enough that we have, we work for better. The concept of qina'ah is a concept we have to learn while we're young. And they grow up appreciating, they grow up understanding while working for the best, for the highest. If I am studying, I'm not studying to be a good employee. No, I'm heading to be the CEO of the company. Yes. Who is better than Muslims? Who are better than Shia of Ahlul Bayt to be on the top of this world, correct? But with the quality. We have many people might have been born and raised in Muslim countries, but when they got to that level, there's nothing in terms of Islam or anything. We want to get to the best and the highest level in education, in business and everything, but the quality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted. Therefore, tuba liman qani'a bil kafaf. And if I want to bring that, establish that quality in myself, I'll go back to what I said in the first khutbah. Tafakkur, thinking, pondering. Shaitan comes and wants to pull that part of your life that you don't have. Shaitan bulls the problem, with your spouse, how he or she is. You tend to see the problems. This is my job, I'm as a psychologist every day. You tend to see the problem more than the benefits. Like literally start writing down. You think like her, she think like her. That you see, no, this is different. If I go with my parents, start thinking and writing down all this benefit that my parents, the fact that they are just there for me. Guess what? Nothing. They're just there. You know who understand what I'm saying? Those who don't have their parents with them. When you talk to them, it says, I'm ready to give Allah, just have them 1 more minute with me. I finish with this. To make us appreciative towards other people. Someone said, my father came, he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, who is the strongest person on the earth? He said, the son says, I am the strongest person. said, my dad was a little bit upset. He expected to say, The second time he said, who's the strongest person? He said, I'm the strongest person. He got upset. He went, left to the door. He says, one more time, who's the strongest person? He said, you. He says, how come the first 2 times you said me? He says, because your hand was on my shoulder. Because you were there for me. The benefit that we have around us, when I have my mother, is the door of heaven, right? When it says, Al-Jannatu tahta aqdamil ummahat. Jannah is under the feet of your mother. Not in her hands. Why? Because if you want to get to Jannah, you have to go down in front of her. Humble yourself. Go all the way down to get it. It's the equation Allah provided for us. The more you go down in front of Allah for the sake of Allah, the higher you will go. It's this way. The more you go higher, for yourself, I am so and so, I'm just, you go down. It's under the feet of mothers. Which Allah, inshallah, give us tawfiq, an opportunity. Now that we have this ni'mah and benefit, this ocean of ma'arif in front of Allah, inshallah, to be able, in front of us to be able to follow, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammadin wa ajjal farajahum wa lana a'da'ahum ajma'in. Allahumma ajjal waliyaka al-faraj wal-afiyata wal-nasr wa mudda fi umrihi al-sharif wa zayyan al-ardha bitul baqa'ih waj'alna min a'wanihi wa ansarihi wa shi'atihi. Ya Rahman ya Rahim, thabbit qulubana ala dinik. اللهم اقض حوائج المؤمنين والمؤمنات اللهم سلم مسافرينا اللهم اشف مرضانا اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد بحق محمد وآل محمد. Ya Allah, let us have the best Ramadan of our life so far. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Ya Rahim, let us take advantage of every single moment of this month. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman Ya Rahim, forgive us in this day of month of Ramadan, the first Jumma of Ramadan. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, those brothers and sisters, my respected one, who have hajat and requests, give them khair hajat. Around the world, those who are under difficulties in Gaza, in Yemen, all around, that they have the muhabbat of Islam, muhabbat of Ahlul Bayt. Ya Allah, provide opportunities for their patience, freedom and success. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, those who are not feeling well, بحق Muhammad wa Muhammad, cure them at this moment. Those who passed away, send the thawab and reward from our gatherings to their souls. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal-Asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihat wa tawasaw bil-haqq wa tawasaw bis-sabr. Salawat. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله.